It's an absolute pleasure to be here today, and especially you at home watching in your living rooms, and everyone here is an incredible feat, actually, seeing this brand new studio being built. And it reminds me of the time that we did a program with Israel's ambassador to the UK, Ron Prosser, back in 2009. Where the first time we had a studio audience like this one, and the ambassador arrived only 5 minutes before we're due to start the program. He was supposed to be there for the VIP reception, but he wasn't. And you get a bit nervous when you're doing a live program, thinking, am I going to have to do this on my own without the ambassador arriving? And the ambassador arrived, and since then, that connection that the Lord's given me towards Israel and the nation of Israel has just been incredible. And I want to honor the God of Israel, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and Yeshua HaMashiach today. Because without him, we can do nothing. And my program the Lord's given me, the Middle East Report, is incredible because I don't know who I am going to get on the set each week. And literally, the Lord just provides these amazing guests, from high-profile politicians to diplomats to historians to theologians, because they all share one thing in common, and that's a passion for Israel. We are living in exciting times. I was up in a speaking engagement 2 weeks ago up in Aberdeen, and it was great to be up in Scotland, great to meet fellow viewers of Revelation TV. But one thing that struck me, which struck a chord, and that is, as Christians, we need to be excited to see what God is doing in the nations today, what God is doing through the nation of Israel today. He is fulfilling his word. We are actually living in biblical times. We see the faithfulness of God to the faithfulness of his people Israel and the Jewish nation. And the fact that the Jewish nation, the nation of Israel, is celebrating this year its 70th anniversary as a nation reborn is a very special time in world history. Never before in the history of the church, never before in the history of the nation of Israel, have we seen the church and the nation of Israel live alongside each other in world history before. And I believe that is our fundamental responsibility, is to stand with Israel and to stand with the Jewish people. We're living at a time of rising anti-Semitism. And if you look back at history, we've seen major rises of Jew hatred within our history. Particularly, it was Theodor Herzl, the founding father of modern Zionism. And it was anti-Semitism that fueled his campaign to write the book, The Judenstaat, the Jewish State. We also see it was the driving force of the rise of fascism and Nazism on this continent over 70 years ago that helped to develop and push the way forward for the re-establishment of the State of Israel in 1948. And again today, we're seeing a rise of Jew hatred in our land. Even with, I'm not getting party political, but the fact is that we have Her Majesty's opposition in Britain with a leader who can't even mention the word Israel. He says that Hezbollah and Hamas are his friends, and these are genocidal terrorist organizations. It says lays a wreath at a memorial service to members of Black September, who carried out the Munich attack at the Olympic Games in 1972 against the Israeli athletes. It shows us that we are living in tremendous times. And this is why it's so important that all of you stand with Revelation TV. And many of you that have actually not only paid for your own hotel, but have actually flown out here today at your own cost and your own expense, because there is a battle for truth in the nations. And we are to be those ambassadors of truth, all of us. You at home, you in the audience, we all have to be those ambassadors. We have to be God's ambassadors in this nation because we're living in exciting times. We're living in the fulfillment of his word. The prophets dreamed of living in such a time as this, where we see the fulfillment of biblical prophecy. And if God is faithful to his word, which he is, if God is faithful to Israel, he'll be faithful to us. And I believe that, I remember, I've got 1 minute left, so I'm going to sum up. I remember meeting Howard 2 weeks before the channel was launched, and one thing impressed me about Howard so much was his love and passion for Israel. And as the channel, they've gave me a platform, allowed me to develop programs like the Middle East Report, the European Report, and these are so important because we need to communicate that love to the Jewish people, but also to remind them that they're a special people and a special land. And this station is blessed because it's standing with Israel and standing with the Jewish people. So thank you.